I'm a comic, I'm a comedian. I started 50 years ago at Nottingham Empire, and I've been going the rounds, played all the theatres, watched them come and go. I've seen the new theatres, old theatres, new acts, old comedians, new comedians. So I really have a whale of a time. Yeah, I'm a gigster, an artiste, an entertainer. I do one-night stands. One night's all they can stand. And I go all around the country. I do 100,000 miles a year. Different cities, towns. I have a wonderful, wonderful time. Yeah, great.
You fall in love with comedy.
I've got the best job in the world, because I only see happy people. I only see smiling people.
Somebody said to me the other day, how do you remember all the jokes? I said, no. I said, a joke is like an old friend. You never forget an old friend. He's always there. A good friend's always there, ready to help you out when you're in trouble, as we all do now and again.
I'm stage struck. You should know that. They have a saying in show business: anybody who actually loves going on stage and performing to audiences is stage struck, and I am saying I just love doing it. I just love being a comedian, being an entertainer. The first 30 seconds when you go on the stage are very important. Posh actors call it establishing a rapport. Gracie Fields used to say it was a silver thread from the entertainer, from the artist to the audience, and I call it building a bridge. Once you've built that bridge, once you've gained their confidence and said,
by Jove, missus, how tickled we are. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day for ramming a cucumber through the vicar's letterbox and saying, look out, the Martians are coming.
I play an audience like you play the violin or the piano or the saxophone. If there's any skill involved, it is in handling an audience. The greatest teacher of all, of course, is experience. And live entertainment has been with us now for thousands of years, from the days of Aristotle, Aristophanes. They were good lads. Through to the music hall, variety. Television is wonderful. Radio is marvellous for comedy. But a live show is the best show. It reminded me of that famous poem. As I was walking down the street, I saw a little boy with no shoes on his feet. Now I had plenty of money. In fact, I had money to spare. So I dashed into a fruit shop and I bought the boy a pear. I don't tell any jokes that are disgusting, disgraceful. A few spicy ones, but nothing you would worry your mother.
I did my very first shows when I was about 12. I was very, very lucky. I met some wonderful people in a teenage concert party on Merseyside, and I started off playing all the clubs. Great apprenticeship, because you learn how to respect an audience. They've all got weapons. Did one or two odd theatres, and they were odd, believe me, very odd, because the audience were funnier than the stage. And then I turned professional in 1954. It was a meteoric plunge to travel, to tour all the theatres all over Britain. Middlesbrough, Leeds, right up to the House of Terror, Glasgow Empire.
Yeah, I used to do like seasons, a week, a fortnight, 3 months. I did 42 consecutive weeks at the Palladium. 42 weeks, twice nightly, 3 times on a Saturday. And then the big, long seasons at Blackpool Opera House, sometimes lasting up to 6 months. But now it's all one-nighters. I'm what they call a gigster.
You find you become a bit of a gazetteer, a human sat-nav, travelling as the snag. And you become quite adept at map reading and finding all the little B roads. That says, where the B are we? If you go to a strange town, I don't remember going over a flyover before. And what are all these aeroplanes doing here? Always ask a taxi driver. It only costs a few bob, and you say, could you take me to the theatre? And they'll, very good. It's a very, very seductive business. You can get taken to all sorts of strange ways, and don't do it. No, stay, just work hard, smile through it all. Yeah, it's the most wonderful experience of all to stand on the stage, to know that you've made an audience laugh and happy. It's wonderful.
You get people who say, go on, well, I've heard about you, well, go on, make me laugh. And it's a bit of a challenge, but British audiences are by and large, and some of them are large, they'll give you a chance. They give you about 20-yard start.
It's more important to me what people say when they go out than when they come in. Make them happy. Make them happy, make them contented, make them feel good. That's what a comedian's supposed to do. You're a jester, a jolly chap.
I was very lucky because I had a marvellous father. My dad was if somebody said to me, who's the funniest man you've ever known? It would have to be my dad, Arthur Dodd. He was the funniest man. He could tell jokes like, I think I just came to me. I think it was as natural as being having my nappy changed or my bottle warmed up. He must have been telling me jokes over my crib. He probably did. Have you heard the one about the... Yeah, but he was the funniest man. He could tell jokes, pull funny faces, sing funny songs. There were some marvellous songs in the old days, like in my dad's day, my granddad's day. A marrow's a banana's father. How does a hen know the size of an egg cup when it lays an egg? And they're wonderful songs, yeah. My father was a coal merchant when people had coal fires, and my brother Bill and me, we ran the coal business. We ran the coal business for about 10 years. I had muscles in those days. It came naturally me to listening to him and telling jokes that I was able to tell jokes myself. And so I probably discovered I could tell jokes when I was about 7 or 8 or 9. And then he used to take us around to, that's my brother and my sister and my mother, she used to take us around to variety theatres all over the north. I think he was trying to sell us. That's where I fell in love with the lovely rosy, cosy glow of the stage. And I saw some men called, well, I didn't know they were talking, so they were ventriloquists, weren't they? Yes. And at the time I used to read wonderful intellectual books like The Wizard and The Hotspur and The Rover. And at the back they had advertisements for itching powder and stink bombs, and then how to be a ventriloquist. So I did, didn't I? Yes. And I did my first show when I was 10 at an orphanage, because the poor little beggars couldn't get away. Then I was lucky enough to meet up with a concert party in Liverpool when I was about 11 or 12, and I stayed with them for 4 or 5 years, doing shows around, everywhere, clubs, pubs, anywhere where there was an audience, we'd do shows. And that's how you learn, by looking at an audience and respecting an audience. There's no greater experience than slaving over a hot audience. They've given the most precious thing in the world to come and listen to you, their time.
Where's my shirt? I can't find my shirt anywhere.
Well, at the moment, as you know, I'm the leader of the Nottingham Lateral Party. Into the future, sideways together. We'll have aeroplanes built so people sit sideways. See, this way, there's no favouritism. Nobody gets there before anybody else. Trains the seats will be sideways, so nobody gets to Euston before the driver. This is what I mean. They're not just laterals. We're very, very fair-minded.
Where's my shirt? Where's my shirt?
I had a wonderful, happy childhood, and I wish that everybody had the same happy childhood. I had a wonderful mother and father. I've got a wonderful brother and sister, and I think if you have a happy childhood, you're very, very blessed, because it's like the foundations of a house.
I went round the world, you know. That didn't please my mother. She said, where have you been the last few weeks? I said, well, I've walked around the world. She said, you liar. She said, if you'd have walked around the world, you'd have come in through the back door.
We had very happy Christmases. Christmas presents and Christmas morning. I was in the choir at St John's Church, just over the road from our house. Christmas dinner, turkey, of course, turkey. And where we went pork people or hen people. We were turkey people with real roast potatoes, the one with a big slab of crisp on. Carrots and turnips mixed, carrots and turnips mashed. Jelly. I'm a jelly maniac. I love jelly. And then I used to have a lady just down the road, a Scots lady, used to make wonderful Scottish bun loaf, Mrs. Haggarth. And of course we had Christmas pudding with Sixmasses in, which suited me somehow or other. I always had that thing that started me off. Yeah, and we'd have all the family would be there, my mother and father and my brother and sister, and sometimes Uncle Jack, who was my great uncle, was the very first. He was diminutive, quite small. He'd be the sort of the inspiration for the Diddy Men. I had a coal man from when I was about 15 to when I was 20 odd. Yeah, I was a coal man for a long time. Shift about 20 ton of coal a day, and that's I think another thing where I got used to dealing with the public, saying hello, missus, you know, and talking to people like in an ordinary conversational way. A lot of people can't do that, you know. I was playing the clubs, amateur shows, and then all the different working men's clubs, and then froth blowers, hot pots, and dockers soirees. Dockers have tea parties where they all take tea with each other, and little boiled ham snacks and things like that. And you do your turn after they've all eaten. You go on and you're thrown to the lions. Then you play the clubs and the dinners, and then you move up a stage to the Masonics and the Rotaries and the posh people. So you do cabaret. I could read, you see. That was my big thing. Oh, yes. That was the big turning point in my life, because I could read when I was 4. And so all through my life I've had this love of reading. And I started off with, as a boy, reading Coral Island,
Treasure Island, Swiss Family Robinson, all adventure books. And then I graduated to the Pickwick Papers. It's all there in books. People's lives, people's imagined lives, people's real lives. It's all there.
A book is really, generally speaking, if he's a good writer, it's usually someone who wants to impart to the reader the benefit of his experiences. Somebody once said that whatever we have today, whatever we learn today, we have learned by standing on the shoulders of great people in the past. One of the greatest thrills in life is to learn something every day. If you can learn a new fact every day, that's the reason you're here. Yeah, you've got to keep learning. You've got to keep learning a little something every day.
I used to go to the Empire Theatre in Liverpool, and it's a huge theatre. And I said, when will I ever stand on that stage? And then first time I went to the Palladium as a customer, when you go through the front door of the Palladium, it's like going into a temple. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and you think, this is it. This is where they have been. And I did I still hold the record, the longest season. And I've stood on that magic stage where Danny Kaye stood, where Johnny Ray, Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, where all the greatest stars in the world have stood on that spot. And I've stood on it. And I've entertained that audience. Isn't that wonderful? I never cease to marvel at it. Bob Dylan had a song, didn't he? The times are changing. And it's true. Songs changed. At one time, they were all very romantic, lovey-dovey, boopy-doopy-doo. My baby does this and my baby does that. Why do men want women to behave like babies? And then at one time, it was all Buddy Holly stuff. And then Elvis. Then they started calling themselves groups. Like a gang attack on the audience. See, I remember bands used to be Ted Heath, Geraldo, the Squadroners. One time, Blackpool, if they all plugged in at the same time, all the trams used to stop on the promenade. They'd have all the musicians, first and second violin, and fourth electrician, sixth fuse mender. Kitchens now more like the engine room of the QE2. I think you just, you either boil it in the bag or the packet or empty the whole lot in the bin. It's quicker that way. You know. The microwaves, although they're fantastic. You can do your courting in about 30 seconds. It's all www.com//.com. I thought .com was the woman from EastEnders. So it's all like, and phoning people up now. You lift the phone up, you're phoning your loved one or the wife, you're phoning into work sick, and you're just practicing your cough. Some lady comes down and says, the person you are calling knows you are waiting. Well, why don't they answer the phone then if they were waiting? And this is all, years ago when I was a lad, we used to phone up, you'd put tuppence in, and some young woman would say, I'm trying to connect you. Well, that would keep me going for 3 days. Oh, everything's very puzzling.
Girls, they don't wear vests, They don't wear a vest. You see, you think, oh, look at you girls. Don't their mothers know they're wandering around not wearing a vest? A little boy in the supermarket, he was crying, and the man said, what are you crying for, son? He said, I've lost my mummy. He said, well, why didn't you hang onto her skirt? He said, I couldn't reach it.
So you've got to get used to change and be able to change with it. The changes, I turned professional in 1954 at the Nottingham Empire, and people say, have you seen a change in show business? Well, of course, look at the many changes we've been through, from rock and roll to heavy rock. But then you keep coming back. I can still go on the stage there and make an audience cry with my singing Tears, or one of the other Tearful Earfuls, and singing Happiness. They love. We've got supermarkets in place of the little corner shop. Remember the little corner? Yeah, you're too young. We used to have a little grocer's shop, little general grocery, corner of every road. There was always a big boiled ham in the window with a tomcat sitting on the top. Candles, mothballs, butter, sugar, tea, biscuits, all in the one bin. Lovely. They've gone. Now we've got the supermarkets, where you've got to be a gambler. You pick the shortest queue at the checkout, and you're always wrong. This morning, I went to get my underpants out of the drawer, and the knob came off the drawer. And then, what else did I do? I went to the front door, and the handle came off the front door. And so all day long, I've been terrified to go to the bathroom.
Love, and romance. And I'm a very, very romantic person, and I love love songs. But love and laughter go together. They're two very similar emotions. You ask most girls, most ladies, why they love a man, and they'll say, because he makes me laugh. And love and laughter go together. So it became the fashion in those days to finish your act with a tearful earful. And particularly if you went on Workers' Playtime on one of these broadcast variety shows, you finished with a song, and the song pluggers, and they were a bit like, it sounded very romantic, but they were song pluggers.
I'd love to do another CD. Time is the thing, of course, because they take a lot of time planning. Now, at one time, you just went straight into the studio. The musicians were there. They put you in a little glass box, like a telephone box, all on your own, and you put the earphones on, and you could hear the live musicians coming through, all playing, and you sang, and that was it. And you might have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10 goes if you want, but you got it right. Sometimes it wasn't you, sometimes it was. Sometimes the balance was wrong, or sometimes a trombonist made a very rude noise. No, he's entitled to. I mean, a person's dyspepsia is their own affair.
I was very lucky, you see, because I was able to choose the songs I recorded. Not all people who made records, sometimes they were just given it by the record company, said, here, record that. And that was it, they just had to make the best of it. But I was able to choose, and I chose some good songs. I didn't choose some good songs, because I was sent a song called, I said, it's too much like Down by the Old Mill Stream. That'll never be a hit. And it was, I love you because you understand. And I turned that down. Then there was another one. I said, that's like a Sally Army tune, that. Oh, Viva España, la 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 la. So I turned that down. So I could really pick some good songs. Yeah, nobody's infallible, We all think we're clever, but we're not.
And it was on Workers' Playtime that I first sang Love Is Like a Violin. Jimmy Kennedy was one of the most prolific of British songwriters, and he wrote this lyric to Love Is Like a Violin, and that became a number one for me in 1960, I think, yes, 1960. Then we had Happiness, a song by the wonderful Bill Anderson, who I once met. This tall man came over to me, the hardware department of Lewis's basement. He said, Mr. Dodd? I said, yeah. He said, my name's Bill Anderson. He said, I'm playing at your Empire Theatre this evening. He said, I want to thank you for singing my song, Happiness. We both were standing there amongst all the buckets and shovels and brushes and furniture polish. So, as I say, I became a bit of a singer, a pop singer as well as a comic. And then, lo and behold, in 1965, I got a double golden disc, got 2 million with Tears. When you make a recording, you go along to Abbey Studios. When they send you the dubbings, you have to choose. And so, in the dressing room at the Palladium, I used to play this record or records to various visitors. And I said, well, what do you think? Shall we release this one first, Tears, or shall we release this one, The River? And people say, well, I like that one. That's a lovely song, The River. Lovely Italian. And they went, no. And then one day, somebody said, Tears. Oh, it's a real Back of the Shara song. Can you see? Back of the Motor Coach song. I said, that's it. That's the one. So we released that around about June or July. And it was a Back of the Shara song. It's what people were singing on their summer holidays. And it shot right up to number one. Isn't that amazing? A Back of the Shara song. So this song stayed there for 8 weeks, 18 weeks in the charts, and it was right in the middle of the rock and roll era when all Stones and Beatles and the disc jockeys hated me because they hated the idea of a corny old song like Tears coming into the charts and staying there for 8 weeks and keeping all the big groups out for another 18 weeks. If the public like it, they like it, and that's all there is to it. There is no other law. The law is, if the public like it, that's it. That's number one. It was a very thrilling time. I used to finish at the Palladium. I was doing twice nightly, 3 times on a Saturday. A taxi would rush me to Euston, and I'd catch the midnight up to Liverpool. And as I got off the train at Liverpool, there were the post office vans and the newspaper vans were all loading and unloading, and a lot of kerfuffle, and they all stopped. And as I walked down the platform, they all stopped and all applauded. Go on, Doddy, good lad. they knew by the Sunday papers that I was number one again. And it lasted for 6 or 7 weeks. 8 weeks, I think. And it was a wonderful feeling because I'm a comedian, I'm an entertainer, and all of a sudden I'm promoted to the number one pop singing spot of Great Britain. I was there where the Beatles had been, and I was number one. All sorts of very, very famous people came to visit the show. Bing Crosby sitting on the 4th row. How bizarre. Another night, Bob Hope was there. Another night, Phil Harris. Another night, Red Skelton. And all these wonderful, wonderful people all came to see the show at the Palladium. I'm telling jokes to them. Mrs. Thatcher came, and I said, "Isn't this wonderful, Mrs. Thatcher? For once, I'm talking and you're listening." And also, famous people came, all sorts. Harold Wilson came twice, Bessie Braddock, all sorts of marvellous people came. The Palladium was a season. It was like a dream come true. And then again in the November, The River, that shot up to about number 2 and number 3. That was I know. 1965. What a year.
I've played for the forces. There's a wonderful organisation called CSE. I've played Gan in the middle of the Indian Ocean, which is now called the Maldives, which is a very, very posh hotel there now, I believe. I once went on a trip to Acapulco in Mexico. All these plumbers, if they bought so many central heating boilers, they could go on this trip, which was useless because they were all tanked up, and we had to do it. So anyway, it was a good trip. We stopped off at Dallas and saw all the sights there, and then went on to Acapulco. You tail your act, or try and style your act to the audience. I've got a giggle map of Great Britain. Before I started in show business, I was like a bit of a salesman, going knocking on doors and saying, "Good morning, madam. Would you like to buy a new bucket or a scrubbing brush?" And I used to keep notes, you see, of how different customers, what they liked, what they required. And so when I came into show business, it seemed natural to me to keep notebooks about, tell a gag, what time on stage, what day off stage, and I've got like a pattern, a giggle map of Great Britain of what they like. Yorkshire people love farming jokes. Down in the Midlands, they do love crazy jokes in the Midlands. The first time I played Nottingham, I got off the train at Nottingham station and got in a taxi cab, and we're going across this huge square on the way to the theatre, on the way to the Empire Theatre, and I saw this beautiful building with a dome, almost like St. Paul's. The beautiful big dome. I said to the taxi, what's that place there? He said, "That's the council house." Oh, I said, "Put my name down for one of those." Jokes are, a lot of them are very old friends, they've been with me a long, long time. But I love, a joke is the most beautiful thing you'll ever see. A joke or hear. A joke is like a watch. And if you open the back, of a joke, you'll see the same things, the balance, the timing, the movement. Otherwise a joke is like a song, like a beautiful song. You sing a joke, and you get all the phrases right, all the phrasing and the timing. And then at the end, you just do the coda, which is the tagline. So a joke is a very lovely thing, and a joke is like a watch, like a beautiful woman. You never forget them. This fellow was going along the road one day, and he passed this fence. And the other side of the fence, he had a lot of chanting, you know what chanting is? I mean, voices all, he knew together, all saying, 13, 13, 13, 13. As you were cracking the fence, he could see they were all old-age pensioners, all silver tops, and they're all chanting 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13. So he saw a knothole, and he put his eye to the knothole, and as he put his eye there, a big finger came through and poked him right in the eye. And they all said, 14, 14, 14, 14.
I have a theory that people like Tommy Cooper and Frankie Howerd were aliens from outer space. I'm sure they were, They weren't humans, because you only had to look at them and you start laughing, probably from the planet Titter. But they all had magic, a little bit of magic. I mean, Tommy Cooper only had to say, all the majority of them were all what I'd call optimist comedians. They were all, by Jove, what a beautiful day. They all made our lives better. They enhanced. They were all always talking about how life could be great and wonderful. And they weren't sort of melancholic, or they weren't sort of moaning or groaning or cynical or sad or grouchy. See, they were great comics. I think so anyway. And that's why my comedy is all what I call jolly old Uncle Joe comedy. By Jove, Mrs. What a wonderful day. What a beautiful day for putting your kilt on upside down and shouting, how's this for a shuttlecock? How tickled we are by goodwill. Have you been tickled by goodwill, Mrs.? Make people feel good. Make people feel happy. If people are in a mood of, depression, bring them out of it, yes. Not put them further into it. You can either choose to live like a cynic and a grouch and somebody who thinks the world owes you a living and the world is an awful place, or you can think the world could be a better place, the world could be a happier place if we all went round smiling and saying, by Jove, yes, how lovely to see you, yes. I've always been a dog man, you see, I've always been a doggy man, right through my life. Like most people, and I'm sure that anybody listening mustn't remember all the dogs that they've been friends with and have loved during the years, and I can go right back to Skippy and Touche and Marco and Sammy and all these wonderful lads who I loved so much and they loved me. And now we've got a little fella called Pippin George. He's a lovely little fella, and he loves everybody. He loves everybody. He loves me, and I love him. And dogs are beautiful, and I think people who love dogs are quite nice people. If you're a dog person, you must be okay. And some people like cats, and cat people are very nice. But cats, we had a lovely cat once called Herbert Nelly. He was nice, but I'm a dog. I'm a dog man, really. But I love racing. I know you're talking. The GGs, they're such beautiful animals. Oh, when you see a racehorse, it's absolutely gorgeous. When you think of it, the physique, the training, they're beautiful. And when you see them run, yes, racing, I'll go anywhere to see racing. I remember once doing a telly show, and I was playing the part of Dr. Dolittle in If I Could Talk to the Animals, Just Imagine It. And we had some of the real live animals. You had a llama and a real little baby elephant. And I was thinking, if I could think to the animals. And this elephant, I don't know how and why, they've asked me, can they use this clip on various shows? And I've always refused because, and I'll tell you why, not because I'm a spoil sport, but because, I thought one of these, I'll want to use it myself. Perhaps, please God, they'll give me a comedy show to do of my own. And I'll tell them all the funny things that have happened to me and bring on some of the funniest people I know. People have always made me laugh, so if it makes me laugh, I hope it'll make you laugh. And this baby elephant, if I talk to the animal, he stuck his trunk right from the rear, stuck his trunk right between my legs and goosed me. And you saw this elephant's trunk appear. 3 ladies in the front row fainted. Whether they thought it was me or the elephant, I don't know. I think when I first started off, I had to battle. You have to battle audiences who, as you say, were more interested in their pints and their gin and baby shams, it used to be in those days. Pints, baby shams and gin and tonics. You have to battle your way through the alcohol haze. Then you've got other audiences, particularly these what they call corporate dues. They have it's the annual firm's hot pot. So there you come about 6th in order of attention grabbing there. I have my customers that I come back to year after year, and even the ones who haven't seen me before, they have come along to the theatre to be entertained. They've come along to have a good laugh. So in that way, yes, I am very, very fortunate, very, very blessed. It must be hell to have to try and fight an audience that are almost daring you to entertain them. There's all sorts of little tricks and gimmicks and little techniques that you can use to try and soothe, stimulate, excite an audience. They're nearly all involved taking your trousers off. When you go on the stage, the first thing you have to do is build a bridge between you and the audience. That is to say, you have to communicate and let them know that they can trust you.
because they are trusting you with something very, very valuable and something very precious, their sense of humour. You can call a man any sort of insult you like, but you mustn't say he hasn't or she hasn't got a sense of humour. That is the most terrible insult you can hurl at anybody. First of all, you talk about the most important thing in the world. Themselves. Then you talk about the place, and it's amazing how people love to hear the place they're sitting in, restaurant, theatre or nightclub, how they like to hear it so slagged. By Jove, missus. Oh, the food here. Oh, if you slid through those kitchens now, there isn't one single blue bottle. There's hundreds of them, and they're all married with kids. And they think that's wonderful. They've just paid about 25 quid to have this meal, and there you are, tell them that it's rubbish. So they like that, and they like jokes about themselves. They'll even stand for, you mustn't be too rude about them, but they will stand jokes about their dress or their faces. You always had that face, it's like a bee chewing a wasp. You always had that face where you're breaking it in for someone.
That's the main thing. They love to laugh, and laughter and love go together. And that's one of the main things a woman should never do in the bedroom: point and laugh.
Comedians are usually quite fair vocalists because they know the value of words. They know how few words to put into a joke, and the words which need underlining and emphasising. And that's what phrasing is. If you want to hear real phrasing, gosh, you got to listen to Frank Sinatra and Perry Como and people like that, and Nat King Cole. Then you're listening to masters of vocalizing. They tell a story in a song, they act the song. They don't just sing it, they act it. And so I've always enjoyed warbling, as I say, on the stage. Got a beautiful new song now called Absent Friends. It isn't a sad song. It's all about people being, say, living on the other side of the world or another country or another part of the house. You can sing it to anybody you like, but Absent Friends, and it's a British song. How about that? And it's a joy to sing.
The time has come to say goodnight.
Oscar Wilde said youth is wasted on the young. He was jealous the same as I am, because the energy, the way your brain works when you're young is so wonderful and marvellous. Anybody young should be enjoying every second of their lives, because it's marvellous, it's wonderful. It's the greatest time in your life you'll ever be alive. To be young and to think of new ideas and meet new people and see new places. Yeah, great. To be young at heart. I think you can be young at heart at any age. I think you can be young at heart at 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, as long as you're young at heart. Not quite the same as being young. Your feet tell you you're not young anymore. Your back tells you you're not young. But even so, when you're on the stage, some miracle happens, some piece of magic, because you forget. I've been on the stage with a broken ankle. I've been on the stage with all sorts of things wrong with me. I've been on the stage with pneumonia. And everybody has things in life. But I've been on the stage, and you work through it. You don't feel a thing. When you're on that stage, something magic happens. Something wonderful happens. You are an entertainer, and then this magic takes over, and you become Superman.
People sometimes say, "Do you ever think about retiring?" I think they're hinting. But no, I just love it. As I say, I'm stage struck, and I just love the job. I think to dream up new ideas and new songs and new jokes, I think that's when to plant a seed and watch it grow and to see something blossom. That's one of the secrets of happiness, you know. A man retires when he stops doing what he doesn't want to do and starts doing what he does want to do. And I'm doing what I do want to do. I see lots and lots of people who retire, and within a couple of years they're dribbling out of one side of their mouth and just watching afternoon telly. Have you ever watched afternoon television? Loose women. They could do with tightening up a bit. I think laughter is the most wonderful thing in the world. The sound of laughter is equal to any classical concert, any symphony. The sound of laughter is, to me, is the most beautiful sound in the world. A sense of humour is a wonderful thing to be born with, to develop, to exercise and to try and make it better. But a sense of humour is a sense of seeing an alternative way of looking at life. It's like taking a concept and then looking at it from a different direction, sideways on, upside down. It's tickling the mind. It's playing with ideas. So yes, I'm very proud that I've got a sense of humour. Being a happy person, being a funny person, no, it's the most wonderful thing in the world. Everybody's been given a beautiful mind. Use it, think about it, and think of things for yourself, think things through yourself, and make your own mind up.
I'm very grateful for all the kindness and love and support I've had over the years. Just at this moment, I don't know whether it's the right time, good health, prosperity and happiness. That's what we're here for, you know. Being alive means you've got to search for happiness, and it's everybody's right to be happy. Have a lovely time, but make the most of every hour, make the most of every minute, make the most of every day. It's a great life. Yeah, it's a great life. It's a wonderful life if you're very happy. Remember, a fool and his money are soon parted. Just let them try.
And finally this evening, after 64 years in show business, at 89 years old, the Squire of Knotty Ash, the King of the Diddy Men and the star of the London Palladium, visited Buckingham Palace to become Sir Ken Dodd as he was awarded his knighthood by Prince William.
It's a curious feeling, you know. It doesn't make a lot of difference to me because I still feel the same, but it made a lot of difference to other people. It was very nice for all the family and friends. No, I've enjoyed every second of it. I've been very, very blessed. Yeah, it's quite exciting to be an acorn. One part of me is very, very happy and very delighted that I've lasted so long. Yeah, I think it's a good thing, yeah. It's a balmy profession, but it's a wonderful profession. Anybody who's thinking of coming into the show business, please, come on in. The water's lovely. Just told them on the stage tonight, I said, you know, years ago, when I'd finished the show, young ladies, very beautiful ladies, used to leave a red rose or a lace handkerchief or a love poem at the stage door for me. Now, all I get now is fishermen's friends and elastic stockings and menthol vapour rubs.
Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield here at the Grand Theatre in Blackpool at nearly 1 a.m. with my favourite person in show business, a legend, an icon, turning 90 in just a couple of weeks. Ken Dodd, how are you?
Why are you trying to borrow money off me? You're just trying to butter me up. It's not proper butter either. I'm sure some of that was margarine. What are you trying to say, Alex? Ladies and gentlemen, this person in front of me, I tell you now, a young man. Now, I have the greatest respect for youth, but I think he's got denim trousers, and he's sitting here with his shirt hanging out. Now, is that really Savile Row? Do the upper classes, do they really go around with their shirt hanging? Young men with their shirts hanging out. It looks as though they've just been interrupted.
Why are you making this about me?
And he's sitting here. He's squirming a bit. He's squirming because he doesn't like being put on the spot. This is the tables turned. This is the interviewee getting his own back onto the quizmaster. Now he seems a nice enough lad. I don't know.
Don't look at my hair.
I don't know who the hell cuts his hair, but honestly, he's in the Tufty Club.
Can we talk about you?
He's in the Tufty. He got red hair and it's Tufty.
Can we talk about you?
I'm sure he wears makeup. I think he wears makeup. Anyway, we'll gloss over that. But he's sitting rather awkwardly here with his legs crossed. God, heaven knows what he's been up to, but. He's doing his best to try and to be a sort of a qualified interviewer. Go on then, ask the questions. I tell you what, they always ask, where's your favourite theatre?
I'm not interested in that.
When are you going to retire?
Not interested in that.
And what do you think of the young comedians?
Not interested in that either.
Well, ask your question then.
I've just watched 5.5 hours of the most glorious variety and stand-up.
Now, it seems like 5.5 hours. You must tell the truth. It seems like... I do go on a bit, I know that.
It started at just after 7 and ended just after midnight. That's 5.5 hours. Yeah. Congratulations. I thought you were better tonight than I've seen you in ages. You seem to have a special energy. Where did you get it from?
Well, a lot of the time I was apologising, don't forget. Energy. The energy, I tell you, Alex, the energy, no, it comes from, it's easy. The energy comes from in front of me, the audience. The audiences are wonderful. British audiences are the greatest, the most fabulous in the world. Hey, why do you think they all come to into Britain, London and other places as well, all over Britain, to play British theatres? Why do they go? Because the audiences are the greatest audience in the world. Not, I don't mean to say that they're just pie, that they're easy. No, they're very, very discerning. A British audience is very clever, very clever. They have an intellectual mark of I would say at least 50. No, they're wonderful. They're wonderful audiences.
They had to open the gallery tonight here at the Grand Theatre in Blackpool.
Have you they give them parachutes as well? Yeah, they give them parachutes. They can have a cushion to sit on because they're only bare boards, and they get a parachute in case you want to leave in a hurry.
Is it still shocking that after 60, coming on 70 years in the business, you're still packing theatres and still getting standing ovations? Does that ever become normal?
It's not shocking. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's because I. All right, then I'll tell you what it is. This is my autumn statement. If the politicians can do it, I can do it. You're coming up to a significant birthday, and yes, it happens. You realise you have to make a review. You have to make a review of your life so far. What is important, what you've enjoyed, any bits you didn't enjoy. It's like a journey, actually, isn't it? And on that journey, there's quite a few speed bumps. There's one or two diversions. They're a bit unnerving, actually, because you don't know where you're going to end up. And the cones, the dreaded cones. 17, 18 miles of cones. And then they have the cheek to put a notice of mind out for the workforce in the road. What workforce? I've never seen anybody working yet. It's an invisible workforce. The phantom work. Anyway, well, why did I have to do so much at a time? Anyway, that's just complaints. That's just a complaint of someone who drives a lot. I to do all my touring shows up, down, here, sideways. I'm like a human yo-yo, going up and down the motorway, up to northeast, up to Scotland, being brave and playing Glasgow and Dunfermline, going down again to the posh one next week, Harrogate. Here we are in Blackpool, all the summer, the autumn season. What a beautiful theatre. This is the Grand Theatre, a Matcham theatre, possibly one of the most beautiful examples of Frank Matcham's architecture. A gorgeous, beautiful theatre. Because the audience, for an entertainer, for a comic, it's there in front of you. All of them there. Oh, wonder. It's a delight to play. So there you are. That's what I've been doing. I've been doing it now. I've been doing it now for a few years anyway. And it's part of me. It's what I do. It's what I do, and I'm doing it just for you.
I don't think anybody can have done more hours on stage in the world than you. Do you ponder what you've given back to humanity? Because I know you talk a lot in your show about happiness, but nobody has given more hours of happiness on stage.
What the heck are you talking? Big words like humanity. If your mother heard you using language like that, you'd wash your mouth out with soap and water. No. The autumn statement is this. Looking back through my life, one word comes to mind. Don't be nervous. Don't be frightened. It's called love. Love. There's all different kinds of love. I don't mean sexy love, you know. Well, I do, because there's all different kinds of love. You could count them off in your hand. There's love. There's love of romance. There's love of family. There's love of your offsprings. There's love of with you, of course. It's the stories you've told me about when you were a radio presenter, and the way you loved all those people you worked with, all your editors and sub-editors and
Don't be naughty.
Yeah, they were really very touching stories. Several times, I'm sure I saw you shed a few tears that you weren't still back on Radio Leeds. But love's been very good to me. I had a marvellous, wonderful mother and father, brother and sister, fabulous family I had. I've had fabulous audiences. I've had wonderful, wonderful friends who have helped me and have assisted me. Yeah, so my life really has been one long love life, yeah.
And I don't think anybody's had more love thrown at them than you. I mean, you've had more standing ovations and more applause than probably any entertainer in history. That must be so fulfilling to feel that.
You'll have to edit that out, because if people talk about me and my love of people, and then you start talking about standing ovations, I think you could be on dangerous ground. I won't sue you, but I think the people who you broadcast from, they don't like this sort of pornographic material,
We've talked.
Have you got a pornograph to play it on?
We've talked about the last 90 years. What's next? I mean, celebrations for your birthday party?
90 years? I haven't done 90 years, you daft.
You've been on the planet 90 years.
Have I? Oh, yes, of course, yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember being born.
You remember being born?
I remember the day I was born, yeah. It was black, and then suddenly there was a bright light, and I emerged, and some lady was smacking my back end. I said, "Here, missus, what do you think you're doing?" She said, "I'm helping you to breathe." I said, "Look, I don't know, but you're doing it all wrong, love. You're doing it all wrong. You could pour me a lager. That might brighten the day a bit." But I did. I had an idyllic childhood. And I was taken. My dad loved variety theatres, and used to take us every week to a theatre in Liverpool called the Shakespeare Theatre of Varieties in Fraser Street. And there I saw all the great comedians, all the great English comedians, the great Irish comedians, the great Welsh comedians, the great Scots comedians. I saw these wonderful men who came on stage, and all shapes and sizes, in big baggy check suits, and tell the audience jokes, and everybody fell about laughing. I thought, right, that's the job I want. That's the job I've got to do. I did, didn't I? Yeah, he'll tell you. That's Dickie Mint.
You spent 90 years on this planet building your reputation. What do you want people to say about you? That you're a great singer, a great comedian, a great entertainer, or just a man that loved to laugh?
It's not what they're going to say about me. That doesn't matter what they say about me. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. That's what an audience is. An audience is a group of people who either, No, it's what I think about them. What I think about them, I think they're wonderful, fabulous. An audience, the posh actors call it establishing rapport. Rapport, that's acting. Gracie Fields used to say it was a silver thread from the performer on the stage to the audience, and I call it building a bridge. And once you've built that bridge from you to the audience, and they become your friends, and they become you tickle their chuckle muscles, and you give them a good feeling of laughter. Laughter, it's a laugh. It's like feeling good all over.
Sell-out shows, Sir Ken Dodd, turning 90. This is a year to celebrate, isn't it?
Don't you say I'm turning. I'm not turning anything. I'm becoming, and all that. What it doesn't matter. And I don't care. You can insult me as much as you like, and you can say how old. I'm not old.
I haven't used the word old once.
My body is. My bones are old. My big toe is old, and the other big toe is just behind him as well. What else is old? Oh, I've got a few corns that are old. I've got a bit of old dandruff if you want some. What else have I got? I've got 1 or 2 beauty spots, but that's I can only tell you about those by arrangement.
But one of the most magnificent brains
but
ever.
I've got up here, inside this skull, there's a thing called a mind and a mind and a brain. And that's about, how old do you say? 18, I think. I think about 18 or 21. Yeah, I'm so grateful, so thankful for all the imagination that's been given to me. The idea of being able to imagine things. Imagine how men's legs get lonely in your trousers in the dark all day. Just an occasional flash of sunlight. These are all these amazing thoughts. If you could transfer parts of your body if you could have another mouth on the top of your head. Think about it. Let your imagination. That's one of the most wonderful gifts. We're given many gifts, young Alex. We're given the gift of sight and hearing and all sorts of wonderful gifts. Breathing, that's a good one. Don't stop doing that. But we've also been the magical gift of thinking. Thinking. Yes. I think, therefore I is.
What a life. What a career. Thank you for being my friend. I love you very much. You are the greatest entertainer we've ever had, as you proved tonight. Turning 90 and doing 5.5 hours, having them on their feet at the end is a tremendous achievement. And I hope you know how loved and respected and cared for you are. Thank you for the laughter. Ken Dodd.
He's trying to borrow money. He is. Only someone who's trying to borrow money uses phrases like that. Yes. I'm going to tell your mother about you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.